Hey, what's going on? You may have seen my playoff predictions. If you haven't, go check that out. But this is the bracket from that, and I'm going to use this to do what I hope I can get at least 5 or 6 of these done. It's what I call a team analysis, where I go down the roster, rank them in place of all the playoff teams, and then see what their odds are of, I don't know, going far or low, or how far they might go, or things like that. So, let's start off with quarterback position. For this is New England team analysis, as you can probably tell by the title and the thumbnail. So this is New England. Let's start off with the quarterback, Tom Brady. Now, if you can think of a better quarterback you want in the playoffs, like this is just not now, but all time, please tell me. But honestly, I think that's an easy one. Obviously, the backup situation is not ideal, but I think it's fair to say that we can go number one there. Running back situation, obviously there are a lot of teams with better running back situations in the playoffs. Derrick Henry, DeMarco Murray, Latavius Murray, Jerick McKinnon over Dion Lewis and James White and Gillisley. I think Burkhead's out. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, honestly, the Patriots don't have that great a run game. Let's just go through it. New Orleans has probably the best run game. Carolina has a great run game. LA's got a great run game. Atlanta, Philadelphia, Minnesota. To be honest, the Patriots might have one of the worst run games, but not the worst. I'm going to give that to Buffalo because Shady McCoy is going to be out for a while, but I'm going to give Patriots the 11th best run game in the playoffs. Honestly, their run game is, and I'm a Patriots fan, but it's hard for me to see how they have a great run game. Wide receiver, and this includes tight end as well. So we have, let me just go off of like the top 3 or 4. So that'll be Gronk, Hogan, Cooks, and Amendola. Those are basically their top wide receivers. Now, obviously, Gronk and Cooks right there is that's a pretty dang good core. Pittsburgh has Antonio Brown, of course. They don't have too much depth behind them, and I don't know if he's going to be ready for the divisional round or not. His injury's still up in the air. Diggs Thielen is, in my opinion, probably the best wide receiver combo in the playoffs. You may say that like Hill and Kelsey is better, but I think Diggs and Thielen is better. But I think the Patriots have the third best after Diggs and Thielen and Kelsey and Hill. Yeah, I mean, I would say Atlanta or Pittsburgh, but to be honest, outside of the top receivers, they don't have great depth. Respectively, it would be 4 and 5, Pittsburgh 4, Atlanta 5. But that'll be for later. O-line, the Patriots have a pretty decent O-line. It's not great. It's like the middle of the pack in the NFL. But for playoffs, as you can see, it's got like we have Solder, Tooney, Andrews, Mason, Fleming. I don't remember, but I think one of these guys is injured. I don't remember who. But I know that Tennessee, I think, is the best line in the playoffs because the Cowboys aren't in it. You know, Conklin, these guys. But I'm going to go 8. The Patriots don't have the greatest O-line. D-line, this is where the Patriots lack. They probably have the worst defensive linemen. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine. Let's just go front 7 here. I think, yeah, they have the worst front 7 in the playoffs. Philadelphia is great. Carolina's great. New Orleans. All these teams have at least really good front 7. Minnesota has the best, obviously. But New England just doesn't have a good front 7 at all. So I'm going to put New England at last. Maybe Tennessee could also be last, but Patriots are going to be last there. Cornerback, safeties. The Patriots are pretty good in that category. Butler, Gilmore, McCourty, Chung. And then they also have Duron Harmon, who's kind of a ball hawk. But, it's a pretty tough one. Seattle's not in the playoffs, and they probably have the best, not anymore, considering that Chancellor and Wagner might be done. Sherman's going to have surgery. I don't know. The Legion of Boom is done. It's calling it now. But anyway, New Orleans has Lattimore, Bell. I'm gonna go with 6 for the Patriots. I mean, they have a kind of middle of the pack secondary. Actually, 5 would probably be better. It's like slightly better than middle of the pack, but not great. Special teams, I'm gonna go with 2. Just the reason I say that is because, like, the only special teams, by the way, that I'm gonna call better is probably Kansas City. Now, the most recognized special teams is probably returning, but outside of returning, like, obviously the Patriots are, like, okay in returning. Lewis and Amendola are some solid returners. But in terms of just everything else, like kick coverage, kicking, punting, New England probably has the best in the league. Because obviously Gostkowski is one of the best kickers in the play. He is the best kicker in the playoffs. He's the one you'd want to kick in the clutch. Ryan Allen's like an okay punter, but just the coverage and everything is really good with New England. Obviously, the one team is Kansas City that's better. So here, let's do some quick math here. 2, 4, 6, 7 categories. So we're going to do 1 plus 11 plus 3 plus 8 plus 12 plus 5 plus 2. 42 over 7, that's 6. The Patriots have an average 6 on their roster. Obviously, this is just looking at their roster, but if you factor in Bill Belichick, 1 second, I just need to make a couple of adjustments. There. So now let's do some playoff calculations. Okay, so New England gets a bye in their first round. So let's see. They have so they need to win 3 games in order to get to the playoffs, right? So we're going to do this as mathematically as possible. So they have 3 games to get to the playoffs. So in their first game, they can go against 3 possible teams. KC, Tennessee, or Buffalo. So the Patriots have all of these at home. The Patriots have good odds. I'm just going to go with, out of 3, the odds. Patriots' odds of beating Buffalo are probably, 2.5 out of 3. Same with Tennessee. KC, I'm going to call probably directly in the middle because KC beat them earlier this year. So the Patriots have good odds to win their first game. Don't forget, it is the lowest seed. So the odds are is that KC is going to be the team to play New England because KC is going to have the best odds to play. So we're going to use this mainly, but we're also going to factor this into consideration. So let's just say the Patriots have a 50% chance to get out of the divisional, but let's include this. So that's going to be 1.5 plus, let's just say those barely factor in because the odds are is that neither of those matchups are going to happen. The Patriots play the lowest seed possible, whereas Pittsburgh plays the highest seed, but odds are is that Buffalo's not going to win, nor is Tennessee. So let's just say the Patriots have a 2 out of 3 chance of moving out of the divisional round, right? So they have a 66% chance of moving out of the divisional round, assuming KC plays them. And so then they go up against this is where the field expands. Well, if they're not going to play Pittsburgh, then they can either play Pittsburgh, or if they're not going to play KC, they can either play, let's assume they play KC, they can either play Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, and that's it. They can either play Pittsburgh or Jacksonville. And I'm going to put their odds at beating Pittsburgh. Last game was close, but this one is in New England, so let's say 2-3. And against Jacksonville, maybe 1.5-3. Jacksonville's a more complete team. And odds are is that they play Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh beat Jacksonville. Actually, I'd call that even, so I'm going to take that both into consideration here. And I'm showing you all the math up front, so that way I'm at least as transparent as possible with doing my odds here. So they have a 58% chance of winning the conference final. So 58.66. So they have a 38% chance of making it to the Super Bowl. And don't forget, this is out of 100, and it's probably the best chance out of all these NFL teams. Once again, I'll post this analysis. And then I'm just going to stick with making it to the Super Bowl because it's going to be really hard to factor in all these NFL teams. But the Patriots have a 38% chance to go to the Super Bowl. You've seen it here. Once again, all of the math I showed you guys up front. But yeah, I think that's some pretty good odds considering the field that they're in. And yeah, thanks for watching the Patriots analysis. Vikings will probably be next. Then, I don't know, I'll release a schedule or something like that, hopefully soon. But yeah, that'll be it. Thanks. Make sure you watch my playoff predictions. See ya.